Welcome, Hot Mess historians. We're going to talk about Catherine Parr, Henry VIII's sixth and final wife. Not much to really go over here. Catherine Parr was born sometime around 1512. Her father was Sir Thomas Parr, and her mother was Maud Green. After Catherine's father passed away at about 1517, Maud took control of the household and the education of the children. And this left a very distinct impression on Catherine Parr as she developed and grew older on how independent women have a greater role in society. Her education left a lifelong passion for education and learning, and she thought it was very, very important and critical, and she always carried that passion with her. She was fluent in French, Latin, and Italian. Actually started to pick up a little bit of Spanish as she was working as a lady-in-waiting for Catherine of Aragon. Henry was not Catherine Parr's first husband. She was married in 1529 at the age of 17, and unfortunately that husband passed away just a few short years later. She was next married to John Neville in 1534. He was 41 and she was 22. Due to the age difference, John had 2 children from a previous marriage, and so this is the first time that Catherine's becoming a stepmother. And she finds that she really enjoys that role. She likes contributing to their education, their upbringing, and helping mold these young children. Unfortunately, John Neville would also pass away. He died in 1543, leaving Catherine a widow at the age of 31. It's following the death of John Neville that Catherine is noticed by the king. But he's not the only one that takes an interest. She also is noticed by Thomas Seymour. And Thomas Seymour is the late Queen Jane Seymour's brother. And Catherine and Thomas really hit it off. They want to be married, they fall in love, but because King Henry has seen her and decides that he wants her, Catherine, like Anne of Cleves, is no idiot, so she's gonna say, okay, well, I'm gonna marry the king, I guess, because he wants me and I can't say no. So Catherine Parr and Henry are married on July 12th, 1543 at Hampton Court Palace. It's a very small ceremony. It was only attended by about 20 people. Catherine's religious upbringing was Protestant. She was not a Catholic the way that Henry was earlier in his life. And in fact, even after he broke away from the Catholic Church in order to marry Anne Boleyn, he still performed a lot of the traditions that are in the Catholic faith. So he's trying to reestablish and get more connection with those roots, and her Protestantism was not in line with that. So Catherine was known to have in her possession specific books that were banned because of their content. If these books were discovered, then she could be charged with heresy and sentenced to death. Hearing rumors about Catherine's Protestantism, some of the conservatives in the court actually went so far as to arrest and interrogate a known Protestant advocate by the name of Anne Askew. In their interrogation, they're really leaning on her and trying to get her to confess and say that Catherine Parr is in cahoots with her and this Protestant movement so that they would be able to charge her. But Anne Askew is like, nah, I'm not ratting anybody out. She's not part of this. I have no idea what you're talking about, and stands firm. Despite not getting a confession out of Anne Askew, the conservatives of the court decide, nah, we're going to go ahead and go after Catherine Parr anyway. So they formally write up an indictment or a warrant for her arrest. I'm not really sure the specifics of it, but somehow this warrant gets dropped or overseen by an ally to Catherine Parr, and that ally runs to her and is like, dude, you have no idea what's about to go down. You're going to be arrested. There's a warrant. I saw it with my own eyeballs. Rumor has it that Catherine became ill and she had to be sent away or locked away in her room because she was so ill. There is rule of thought about this being faked so that if the arrest warrant was tried to be executed, she would be too sick and they wouldn't be able to. Or there's another rule of thought that she was so distraught and had a panic attack at the thought that there was a warrant out for her arrest. I mean, this is Henry VIII we're talking about. He does not shy away from arresting and or executing his wives, right? What's to stop him from doing that with Catherine Parr? Too many Catherines, man. All we know for sure is that she was ill enough that Henry made a visit to her and had sort of a come to Jesus meeting and informed her that she could no longer be as public about her advising Henry as she had in the past, that there was no room for her to participate in the politics of the time, and that she really needed to rein in her advocacy for the Reformation. Catherine was very close to all three of her stepchildren. Remember, at this point, Henry has 2 daughters and that beloved son. And she was personally involved in Elizabeth and Edward's education. At this point, Mary was much older and didn't really need that guiding hand at her age, but Elizabeth and Edward certainly did, and her love of knowledge, education, and that she sort of took the reins on that and was very, very involved in their education. And Catherine Parr is said to have actually published her own book in 1545 called Prayers of Meditation. This became the first work ever published by an English queen under her own name. Previously, if a queen had published works, then it would have been under a false name or even under her husband's name as the king. This was the first one that she was Queen Catherine Parr published. Author. It was amazing. The time has come. Henry VIII passes away in January 1547. After his passing, everyone believed that Catherine Parr would serve as a regent to Edward, who would now step up as heir to the throne. He's now going to be the king. Many people believed that that was going to be Catherine Parr because she was so involved in his life. She was a much beloved stepmother. She was in charge of his education. It kind of makes sense that it would be her. However, only a few months after Henry's death, Catherine married Thomas Seymour, who she wanted to marry in the first place. She never wanted to marry Henry. She just felt obligated to do so. So she married for love. And they were married in secret. And because of the secrecy, and it was so fast after Henry died, this caused quite a bit of a scandal. So she was not eligible, given all of that atmosphere, to be regent to King Edward. She was, however, allowed to act as a guardian to Elizabeth and Mary. A year after marrying Thomas Seymour at the age of 36, and on her 4th husband, Catherine Parr finally is pregnant, and she's gonna have a little baby. And she gave birth to a little girl on August 30th, who she named Mary. But unfortunately, she would suffer the same fever that Jane Seymour suffered after giving birth, and she died just days after giving birth to Mary.